Good morning, everybody. Yes, I am leaving the trigger warning up for a little bit so that way you're not triggered. And by the way, I hate that word by people going, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. So we're all adults here, and I'm just letting you know in advance that, well, OJ's up here. Lay down. Lay your ass down. There you go. I'm triggered right now by OJ. And again, I hate that friggin' word. Letting you know in advance that this is not an easy case. It is not a popular case. It's not. But it needs to be discussed because, well, it's damn disgusting. Who did I miss at the pre-party? Who did I miss? Let's see. I saw Pat K, DT driver. I saw him this morning. Sonia Allen, good morning. Baby kisses, good morning, my friend. Got a secret, can you keep it? Glad you're here. I saw GB. Angie Baby was the first one in chat. Let's have a big round of applause for Angie Baby. Just Cat. Glad you're here. There's Wiz. Hey, Stacy. What's up, girlfriend? Big T's here. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Jody Landis. Girl, where you been? Gonna have to send the National Guard for you. Don't be doing that. We worry about you. All right. So first off, I thought today was Monday. And that's not because of my alcoholism. You know, when you have a 3-day weekend, you get turned around on what day it is. So I had to remind myself today is Taco Tuesday. Yes, it is. Did everyone have a good Labor Day? Whether you worked in the yard, had a barbecue, had friends over, jumped in the pool, just sat around and watched movies. What did you do? Because I can tell you I did a whole lot of nothing. I did watch DT Driver do a lot of stuff around here. That was awesome. I do enjoy that. We didn't really do too much yesterday. We made fajitas, which were amazing. There isn't a drop left of them. Melanie said, I recovered, LOL. I've had a lot of those stories coming through. Robin cleaned house and worked in the yard. Yes. Real Rockin' Robin said, me too. It's my adult juice boxism. Love it. Love it. I'm telling you. What to do? Baby kisses. My sister came from South Dakota and we cooked out. What'd you cook? Ribs, burgers, hot dogs, all the above, steak. I love cookouts. I hate using. Here's a secret. I cannot stand using the oven or the stove. I would rather use the grill. We use our grill year round. Now, if it's icy and snowing outside, I don't really venture into that because, well, I'm an Okie and we don't really like precipitation. We don't care about tornadoes, but we don't like that white stuff. No, we don't like it. Hey, Britt, what's up, girlfriend? All right, let's take a second and welcome everyone back. If you missed the members live yesterday, it was a hoot. Hopefully, if you don't have a membership, you can subscribe today to memberships, or you never know if they're going to be gifted. So make sure your gifts are on. Say hello and welcome your neighbor. Well, this case was brought to my attention over the weekend, and I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. Little Jamaria Sessions, she is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this beautiful baby. Look at her. Look at this beautiful baby. Look, I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Well, after her mama died from a very tragic accident, she was left with this fool, her dad, LaJuan Sessions. His girlfriend, Tyshael Martin, had it out for little Jamaria. Cases like this, I'm to the point where we need 2 islands when people abuse children. Let them duke it out survivor style. Let them just get to it. Duke it out. Look at those eyes. Look at her. Now, Jamaria was murdered, allegedly, on June 17th, 2024. There are so many complexities to this case because, well, for one, CPS really failed, in my opinion. They didn't really keep up. But Tyshael Martin, she is in a class of her own now. She is in a class of people that nobody wants to be around. They can't sit with us. And this is murderous moms. All the dead eyes. Good morning, paper slut. Good morning, heavens little angels. All the dead eyes. Now, Tyshael Martin is not the mama. She's not even the stepmama. She is LaJuan's girlfriend. Guess what he did? He got tired of fighting with her and he went and moved in with his mama and left these 2 little angels with her. That's their mama. That is not Tyshael. He left them with her. Where was his mama? Why did she not ask, where's my grandbabies? Why aren't you bringing them over? Because the abuse that was heaped on this beautiful, beautiful little girl, there she is we can't comprehend it, my friends. She tried to straighten her hair with boiling water, which caused an insane infection on her foot. Could you imagine boiling water on your head? She ordered a Rottweiler to attack her. She wanted that Rottweiler to kill her. This is all captured on an indoor security cam. She ordered the dog to attack her. Now, that is not exactly what killed her because she was pulling her by the hair through the house saying, I'm fixing to kill her. She was kicking her, punching her, hitting her in the head, and on June 17th, she died. Well, it's all come out now, and it's beyond horrific. And don't forget, CPS really shit the bed on this one. We'll talk about that after this news clip.
All right, a Fox 35 News exclusive.
Look at her. Look at little Jamaria. Deputies are saying it's the worst they've ever seen. Kimberly Mann said they are scary dogs. This woman locked up. Oh, hell yeah, she is. And also, so's the daddy. He wasn't even there, but they've got him for manslaughter because he left the kids with her. Way to go, Florida.
9-year-old Jamaria Sessions was found dead back in June in Montverde. Fox 35 News first brought you the story then as deputies were trying to figure out how she died. And tonight, they say they have some tragic answers.
Deputies say this woman beat the little girl and instructed her dog to attack her.
Now let's talk about that. She beat the little girl and instructed her dog to attack her. Carrie Moody was gifted a Crime Lines and Lies membership. Boss lady, I'm too old for this. Well, she already had one. Old Coot, Jody, and Tammy. Thank you so much, Kimberly Mann. Thank you so much. You guys, welcome to Rider Crime. Glad you're here. I'm too honest for this. Said this is not all Florida. This is Central Florida. Oh, yeah, I don't think it's all Florida. Oh, no. This woman is evil. Let me tell you guys, you know what we talk about on the daily, right? Hell is empty. There's no one in hell. You know why? Because they're on earth. Nobody in their right mind would think to order a Rottweiler to attack a beautiful little girl. Look, I don't care if she's the ugliest kid on the block. Nobody would attack a Rottweiler to attack a child. Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to pull the mental illness bullshit. And guess who won't be buying it? Me. And I guarantee all of you. Ordered the Rottweiler 103 pounds to attack Jamaria.
Say this woman beat the little girl and instructed her dog to attack her. Fox 35's Marie Edinger joins us live now. So Marie, this woman was the girlfriend of the young girl's dad.
That's exactly right. Deputies are calling this the worst case of abuse they have ever seen in Lake County. Jamaria Sessions had two grandmothers who she'd stayed with in the past, and we spoke exclusively with both of them today.
Now, I'm not going to pick on the grandmas today. I do have questions for LaJohn's mother, because I would think she would be asking, where are your kids? You see, Tyshael made it sound like she was like the best mother in the world, and she was doing everything for them. But as we know, behind closed doors.
That's a baby. That's a baby. A beautiful little girl not gone.
Of a 9-year-old baby. 9.
9-year-old Jamaria Sessions was found dead in June. Now we know she was tortured and brutally beaten, allegedly by her father's girlfriend, Tyshael Martin.
This is the worst case of aggravated child abuse we've ever seen.
Martin's arrest affidavit says while her other kids watched, she sicked her 103-pound Rottweiler on Jamaria.
While the other children watched. Now, one child in the house is catching. Hold on one second. D Mystery Obsessed. Did I do something wrong? Why was my comment removed? I don't know what YouTube is doing. Sorry to interrupt everybody. I was trying to tell GB Folk good morning this morning, and it said YouTube rejected your comment for spam. I don't know, but no, you didn't do anything wrong. So yeah, my stomach is churning. Let me get back on track. One of the children in the house is catching a lot of heat on social media because she is, well, almost 18. and they're saying she should have done something. Now, let's talk about that when you have a mother like this. They're sitting there watching her command the Rottweiler. And Rottweiler people, if you're watching this on the replay or you're in chat in the bushes or active chatting, don't come for me. I'm not picking on Rottweilers. I'm picking on the owner. This bitch. I don't know how you would command a dog to attack a child. I don't know. I don't know what kind of training it would take or command to make the dog attack this little girl. Has anyone thought that maybe the almost 18-year-old was afraid her mama was going to turn that dog on her? It is vile.
Other kids watched. She sicked her 103-pound Rottweiler on Jamaria, then kicked and beat her.
There was no reason to hurt my granddaughter.
The home was full of security cameras, which deputies say caught the attacks on video. In one video, Martin is heard saying, "I'm fixin' to kill her."
Yes. In one video, she said, "I'm fixing to kill her." What could Jamaria have done to her for her to sick a Rottweiler on her, 103-pound dog? Kick her, punch her, drag her by her hair when she was basically lifeless at that time, and say, "I'm fixing to kill her." I can't imagine. Nothing excuses this. Nothing. I don't give a rat's ass if they find out she's only got a half a brain. I don't care. Mermaid has a question, where was the dad? He moved out because him and Tyshael were fighting, and he left his kids behind. And the biological mother died a few years ago.
According to the affidavit.
The world needs to know evil when they see it. So her picture needs to be everywhere. If I had the money, I would invest in a billboard in every state. So
The sheriff's office says that was far from the first instance of abuse. Martin is accused of beating her as a form of punishment.
Okay, let's look at this. On June 18th, 2024 at approximately 8:00 a.m., your affiant attended and viewed the autopsy of Jamaria Sessions. During the autopsy, the medical examiner, Dr. Lang, noted no organ abnormalities, failure, or damage, and found no medical preliminary obvious reason for the death of Jamaria. There are blunt force injuries, which appear to be superficial, but no signs of strangulation. There was no immediately discernible medical reason for the death and no observable cause of death at this time. Due to this, the medical examiner determined to wait on further pathology, toxicology results to assist in determining the cause and manner of death. All right, this is very important. The medical examiner did note the number of superficial injuries, advising it appeared to be torture and inflicted by fingernails and being struck with an object approximately 1.25 centimeters wide, or inches, along with other items, possibly wire, on both of Jamaria Sessions' biceps, fingertip. Bruising was present with a curved laceration present at each end of each bruise, indicating that Jamaria was grabbed with significant force and fingernails penetrated her skin. What the fuck? But it's the security cameras in the house that figured out what happened.
And making her run with her hands above her head.
Don't have the words to describe.
Made her run with her hands over her head.
Of punishment and making her run with her hands above her head.
Don't have the words to describe it. It's unimaginable and completely inhumane.
So where was Jamaria's father? The sheriff's office says he left the home because he and Martin were fighting. His daughters have lived with each of their grandmothers in the past. Both told me today they want custody of the children. And now they want maximum punishment for the woman accused of killing their granddaughter.
You gotta explain to her sister what happened to her sister. She not gonna understand that. She only 6 years old.
The justice that she deserves is not what the state does.
Woo! This is the most powerful statement. I'm going to go ahead and say of the month, maybe of the year. The justice that is deserved is not anything the state does. Meaning, hell, they can give her the needle. But we know that the justice that is deserved is way worse than that. I'd put her in a jail cell with Rottweilers and boiling water. Again, this is a very powerful statement and good for grandma for saying it.
She not gonna understand that. She only 6 years old.
The justice that she deserves is not what the state does.
No one else has been charged in this case, though the Lake County Sheriff's Office says the investigation is active and ongoing. Martin is being held on no bond. Live in Lake County, Marie Edinger, Fox 35 News.
Yep, no bond, but there has been another arrest. Second arrest made in the 9-year-old's death as girl's father is accused of manslaughter. LaJohn Sessions, 26, arrested by Orange County deputies. The father of a 9-year-old girl who investigators say was abused and murdered in Mount Verde has been arrested and accused of aggravated manslaughter, marking the second arrest in the child's death, according to the Lake County Sheriff's Office. He was arrested last Friday by Orange County deputies on a Lake County warrant for aggravated manslaughter of a child in connection with the death of Jamaria Sessions. His arrest follows that of his girlfriend, Tyshael. She's 34, he's 26. Okay. I'm not picking on that. Martin was arrested Wednesday and faces charges of aggravated child abuse, child neglect, and first-degree murder. I bet she was shitting her britches when they showed up. See, they're all high and mighty when they're picking on a kid. I really wish this sheriff's office would reach out to the sheriff's office with Jen Soto and get her on something. You can't tell me that she didn't know. Jamaria was found dead in a home along the 16,000 block of Harbor Oak Drive on June 17th. Hang on. A news release states detectives obtained footage from the family's security system on June 15th that showed Jamaria being viciously attacked by the family's 103-pound Rottweiler, with Tyshael commanding the attack while holding the dog's leash. The sheriff's office said detectives learned the girl was punished with prolonged wall sits, running in place with her arms up, being hit with objects, kicked, punched, and pinched. Autopsy report reveals the girl's cause of death was multiple blunt injuries to the head, torso, and thermal injury of her right foot. That's from the boiling water. According to a probable cause affidavit, she was burned on her foot when Tyshael Martin use boiling water on her hair. Why would you put boiling water near anyone's scalp? Come on. The abuse continued to the point at which Tyshael can be seen dragging Jamaria's nearly motionless body across the floor. Jamaria was then repeatedly struck and shaken by Tyshael, who can be heard in the video saying, "I'm fixin' to kill her." She's being held on no bond. You talk about sickening. You talk about sickening. And again, it was this horrific footage that led to the arrest. And I'm not showing the footage. It's not out yet. I know some people say it is, but there's a lot of gross people on the internet.
A Lake County woman is in jail accused of murdering a 9-year-old girl.
We want to let you know the details of this one, really disturbing and just heartbreaking. Deputies say this woman used the family's 100-pound Rottweiler to attack her boyfriend's daughter, and they say the abuse did not stop there. West 2's Greg Fox is live in Lake County. And Greg's security video could prove to be the key evidence in this case.
It's so far shaping up that way. I mean, we're right outside the jail where this woman is being held right now. And just like there are security cameras keeping an eye on us because we're near that gate, there were security cameras inside the home. And detectives say that video, according to the medical examiner's report too, showed a beating leading to a death, even a burn on her foot.
Yeah. Who would even think to put boiling water on a scalp? Tyshael didn't try to do her own hair with boiling water, but she did this to Jamaria. And yes, I hate to jump the fence and say, oh, CPS, because they're not law enforcement, but they were well aware that the mama had died. Welcome, Jean Allen. Well, look at that, everybody. Jean Allen is a new member. So glad you're here. Everybody, welcome, Jean Allen. Let's have a big round of applause because Jean Allen is here. So glad you're here. You're going to love it here. So I got to take that down. From Althea Chenault, Jamaria's grandmother. She said, I blame the system. Yes, I do. CPS in the courts, because if they had just one person cared, she wouldn't be dead right now. Chenault said she had been fighting to protect her grandchildren for 2 years since their mother died tragically in 2022. She says all they had to do for 1 minute, go in there and look at her, and they would have pulled her out of the house. You have got to be kidding me. You have a grandma that wants to take care of the grandchildren, but they leave them with their biological father. Reminds me a lot of Adam Montgomery, that whole situation. Remember? With Harmony Montgomery? They think this is the better life. Well, he gets the hell out of town because he's fighting with this woman. And what does she do? Puts boiling water on her head to the point where she had a bad infection on her right foot. Has a dog attack her. I still don't understand how the dog would just attack her, but she obviously had the dog trained because it did happen. They have it on camera. And beat her to death. And like Adam and like Kayla, teardrop and step meth, I guarantee they were reaping the benefits of having those girls there. I bet there was all kinds of benefits. I can't prove it. I haven't read it. I have nothing to back up my opinion, but it is my opinion. And we don't know yet how long this torture went on. But I know who's not being tortured. I know that for sure. Crazy for Reptiles, because she was just gifted a Crime Lines and Lies membership by Pat Kay. Girl, you go with your bad self. You guys get your umbrellas.
For 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of child neglect.
34-year-old Tyshael Martin didn't appear upset as she faced a judge.
I already have a private attorney.
You have a private attorney? Okay.
She has a private attorney. How is that private attorney? I don't care if you bring back F. Lee Bailey and the whole dream team, Johnny Cochran, Robert Kardashian, all of them. How is a private attorney going to defend this video where you are instigating a dog to attack a defenseless little girl? Soul having be.
Murder, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of child neglect.
34-year-old Tyshael Martin didn't appear upset as she faced a judge.
I already have a private attorney.
You have a private attorney? Okay.
But she'll be counting on that attorney.
Well, then where was her private attorney? Is this a make-believe attorney like we have seen in other cases? What is she doing talking to a judge without her attorney there? That is my question. What is she doing talking to a judge without an attorney? She is facing murder, child neglect, aggravated assault. They can give her the death penalty, and they probably will in Florida. Why would her private attorney let her speak?
To defend her against charges that she so severely physically abused her boyfriend's 9-year-old daughter, Jamaria Sessions, that she was found dead in the family's home in Montverde, June 17th.
It's difficult to read. It's difficult to even talk about. And no doubt it was difficult for the detectives to investigate this and piece it all together. It's unimaginable, really.
Sessions was a student, along with at least one of her siblings, at Grassy Lake Elementary School. The sheriff's office says at least 4 minor children and possibly an 18-year-old were living in the home with Martin. And that home has perhaps the most important evidence in this case.
Seems everybody's got security cameras either in or outside their home or both. Of course, they've even got a security camera right here at the entrance to the sheriff's office customer service desk. We're told by detectives that there was a security camera inside the home at the time that the 9-year-old was being abused in mid-June, including one episode where Martin was allegedly holding a leash on a dog that weighs more than 100 pounds that was trying to bite the girl.
The arrest affidavit states
Tyshael Martin continued to kick her hip and eventually her stomach area at full force. When the child did not get up, Tyshael Martin then grabbed the child by her hair, pulling her across the floor. With minimal resistance by Jamaria, who appeared to be disoriented and motionless, the child was dragged near the stairs, which is where the dog attack occurred, which was just out of frame. Tyshael Martin continued to command the child to stand up, and as Jamaria physically could not comply, she was repeatedly struck and shaken.
Video shows Martin kicked Jamaria's hip and eventually her stomach area at full force, When the child did not get up, Ty Martin then grabbed the child by her hair, pulling her across the floor.
They got the act of Tyshael Martin severely, savagely beating Jamaria in the nights leading up to her death. In my time here, I don't think I've ever seen one quite so graphic and, like I said, savage, I think is an appropriate word to describe this.
The judge denied bond for Martin, who remains in jail pending arraignment September 23rd.
And we will be covering that arraignment because she's probably not going to see a jury or him for a couple of years.
We tried to reach out to the biological parents of Jamaria Sessions. Her biological mother passed away, and her father is here in the jail right now. He was arrested a couple of weeks after the girl was killed, and then that was on separate charges. So he's not considered a suspect in this case.
Well, he is now. Now he's charged with aggravated manslaughter.
But right now, we can't talk to him. He is still being held here. Live in Lake County.
How disgusting. How disgusting. Good morning, Shay Shay. Felicia said, the demon eyes tell it all. I agree. Dee's mystery obsessed. Why is it allegedly if she's on film? That's just the verbiage they have to use until the gavel comes down. Trust me, it works my last nerve as well. Look at that. Joy Jones has been a member for 20 months. Me love you long time, girlfriend. Just when you think it can't get any worse, though. This is from Daily Dose. They have compiled a lot. And it's really important information. I'm going to put their link in the chat if you would like to subscribe to them. Give them a view. They have a lot of interesting things over there. But check this out.
Security footage revealed a shocking scene as a young girl was being attacked by a massive dog. But the biggest surprise of all was the person who ordered the dog to attack her. Stick around with us to find out who it was. In the picturesque town of Montverde, Florida, a horrifying tragedy has sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community, leaving residents grappling with disbelief and sorrow. The life of 9-year-old Jamaria Sessions, a vibrant and innocent child, was cut short in a brutal and senseless act of violence that has left many questioning how such a devastating event could have unfolded in their midst. The story began to unravel on the evening of June 17th, when a frantic 911 call alerted authorities to a disturbing scene at a home on Harbor Oaks Drive. Emergency responders arrived to find Jamaria unresponsive, her small body marked by visible signs of severe trauma. Despite their efforts to revive her, it quickly became apparent that the injuries were too severe, and the young girl was pronounced dead at the scene. What investigators uncovered in the following days.
There was no saving her. No saving her. Can you imagine the fear that she had at 9 years old? Being kicked and struck repeatedly, drugged by her hair. And at this point, she was very, very sick from this horrible burn on her foot. She's unresponsive. And what does old girl do? What does Tyshael do? She tries to get the dog to maul her. Now, why do you think she wanted the dog to maul her? She wanted to make it look like the dog killed her. She wanted to make it look like the dog killed her, because then it's just a dog accident. Like the people that leave their kids in the car and say, oh my gosh, I forgot. She wanted it. She wanted to make it look like the dog killed her. Now, I've reached out to a few people and I've asked, what happened to the dog? The dog was euthanized. That's what I was told. If I was told wrong, don't come for me. V. Oakley said, whose security cameras caught this crap? Theirs. Tyshael and Lawan. In their house. Dum Dum didn't realize that they could pull all that. And as far as the school, this happened in the middle of June. I can't blame the school for this one.
Would reveal a pattern of abuse and neglect that had tragically culminated in the child's untimely death. As the investigation progressed, attention quickly turned to 34-year-old Tyshael Elise Martin, the girlfriend of Jamaria's father, Lojuan Sessions. Martin, who had been living with the family, was arrested on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and child neglect. The details of the case:
murder, aggravated child abuse, neglect. Now, the neglect, I can only imagine. We can figure out the rest.
Are as shocking as they are heartbreaking, with evidence pointing to a sustained period of cruelty inflicted upon Jamaria by Martin. The key to unraveling the mystery lay in the family's security camera footage, which had captured the horrifying events of June 15th, 2 days before Jamaria was found unresponsive. In the chilling footage, Martin can be seen holding the leash of a 103-pound Rottweiler, directing the dog to attack the defenseless child. The footage shows the dog viciously mauling Jamaria, who desperately tried to escape the onslaught. As the dog continued its brutal attack, Martin's actions only grew more sinister. She is seen repeatedly kicking Jamaria as she lay motionless on the floor, her tiny body unable to withstand the repeated blows. But the horror didn't end there. The footage also reveals Martin dragging Jamaria's unconscious body across the floor, shaking her violently and striking her again and again. In one particularly chilling moment, Martin is heard muttering, "I'm fixin' to kill her," as she continued her relentless assault on the helpless child. For those who later reviewed the footage, the sheer brutality of the attack was almost too much to bear. The images and sounds captured on the security cameras painted a harrowing picture of a child subjected to unimaginable violence.
Oops, I was muted. Angela Fender, so glad you're here, said no one saw this or heard it. The other children did. Now, there's a lot of questions as to why the older child in the house didn't step in to help. Do you think that maybe the older child was too scared? She wasn't quite 18, and there's no charges on her as of today. Do you think that she was thinking that it would turn on her? I don't know. Time will tell with their investigation. Kelly Miller said, fear is why they didn't step in. I'd be scared shitless. But I mean, that wouldn't stop me because I was kind of a loud kid.
At the hands of someone who should have been caring for her. The autopsy report would later confirm the worst fears of the investigators. Jamaria had died from complications due to multiple blunt force injuries to her head, torso, and extremities. In addition to the severe trauma, the autopsy revealed a heat-related injury to her right foot, further evidence of the suffering she endured in her final moments. The injuries were consistent with prolonged physical abuse, suggesting that the events of June 15th were not an isolated incident, but rather the culmination of a sustained pattern of violence.
I have a feeling that the other children in the house they have told them a lot. Besides the video, the security video that they have. I believe that the other children in the house, their eyewitness statements, we talked about this a few weeks ago with another case. The only one that had boiling water put to her head in order to straighten her hair was Jamaria. And that boiling water hit her foot. Has anybody ever had boiling water on them before? It's only happened to me one time, and it was a splash. And it hurt like hell. GB said, what happened to the bio sister? She is in CPS custody, and the grandma of the bio mom is trying to get custody of her. She's been trying since her daughter died. She did not want these girls with LaJean Sessions. And right here, you can see what the grandma said. She has been fighting to protect her grandchildren for 2 years since the girl's mother tragically died in 2022. She said all they had to do for 1 minute, go in there, look at her, and they would have pulled her out of the house. Yeah. It's horrible.
As the investigation delved deeper, a disturbing pattern of abuse emerged. Interviews with family members and acquaintances, as well as the discovery of text messages, painted a picture of a child who had been subjected to cruel and unusual punishments on a regular basis. Martin's methods of discipline were as sadistic as they were inhumane. Jamaria was often forced to perform strenuous physical tasks, such as extended wall sits and running in place with her arms raised for long periods. These punishments were frequently accompanied by physical violence, with Martin hitting, kicking, and punching the child whenever she failed to meet her demands. The discovery of this sustained abuse has left the Montverde community grappling with a profound sense of grief and outrage. Residents have been left wondering how such a heinous act of violence could have taken place in their peaceful town. The arrest of Martin has provided some measure of justice, but it has also sparked difficult conversations about the signs of abuse that may have gone unnoticed and the responsibility of the community to protect its most vulnerable members. The case has also drawn attention to the complex and tragic circumstances that led to Jamaria and her younger sister being placed in the care of their father and Martin. After the death of their mother from leukemia at the young age of 24, the girls had initially been living with their grandmother. However, in October 2023, following the release of their father, LaJean Sessions, from prison, the girls were...
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there just for a second, because I had the same question in the case of Harmony Montgomery. They gave Harmony to Teardrop, Adam Montgomery. They let him reunify with her as he was in prison. Why was he a better fit than the Foster family or Jameson's family that wanted to badly adopt Harmony? Okay, in this case, LaJean is just getting out of jail. What makes him a better parent than the bio mom's grandma who had already been taking care of them? We have another case where they were just fine until another parent got a hold of them. We saw it in the case of Corey Mikolo. He was just fine with Bree and Rebecca and that whole system of the family. It's when Christopher Gregor got a hold of him, we have unexplained bumps, bruises, the treadmill incident. There's too many cases like this. And I agree with Susan. What about the children's rights? What good is a guardian ad litem if they don't listen to the kids or get them full physicals. I'm with you. I'm too honest for this. Boils my blood. Me too. I say rip down the entire child protective system. Cut out the red tape. Cut it all out. And start from the beginning. Now, just because he just got out of jail doesn't make him the worst person in the world. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But this situation should have been heavily, heavily monitored. Because, well, we see the outcome. Boiling water to straighten hair. A Rottweiler attacking a little girl. Multiple contusions, pinches, everything. Blunt force trauma. Kicked in the abdomen. Stop trying to keep these kids with their parents. Just quit it. And I'm going to get my ass handed to me for this. Once you lose a child, fix the mama and fix the daddy so they can't repeat the issue. Nothing against the children. You get no second chances. None.
The death of their mother from leukemia at the young age of 24, the girls had initially been living with their grandmother.
They should have never taken these girls from their grandma. Never. But because he's the daddy and he wanted the state benefits, in my opinion, they handed them right over to him. And what's he do? Leaves them with Tyshael to witness and experience horrific abuse. And Jamaria was murdered.
However, in October 2023, following the release of their father, Lo Juan Sessions, from prison, the girls were moved to live with him and Martin. Despite their best efforts to remain involved in the girls' lives, the maternal side of the family found themselves increasingly cut off, facing what they described as insurmountable barriers in their attempts to provide love and support to Jamaria and her sister. The situation was further complicated by Lo Juan Sessions' criminal history, which included a 5-year prison sentence for charges of child neglect, trafficking in MDMA, and fleeing and eluding law enforcement.
Child neglect. Super. We got the rug situation, and you know what I mean. YouTube doesn't like when I use certain trigger words. Trigger words. Evading law enforcement. So he evades law enforcement, but you think he's going to work with CPS? Here's your sign. Here's your sign. And you guys know that I very rarely jump on the CPS bandwagon and go, oh, it's CPS, it's CPS, it's CPS. Because, you know, I always say it starts at home. It does. This, obviously, is Tyshael's fault, LaJohn's fault, and it's CPS's fault for not listening to the grandma and not doing their follow-up visits. Now, there is a major lawsuit going on in the case of Corey Mikolo in New Jersey. And I hope that Bree collects every penny of that lawsuit because she had over 100 calls to CPS. I hope she gets every dime of it. Every freaking dime. And I hope Althea, the grandma, in this case, sues the pants off of them.
Love and support to Jamaria and her sister. The situation was further complicated by Lo Juan Sessions' criminal history, which included a 5-year prison sentence for charges of child neglect, trafficking in MDMA, and fleeing and eluding law enforcement. Released in August 2023, Sessions had only been out of prison for a few months before the tragedy struck. The family had hoped that despite his troubled past, Sessions would be able to provide a stable and nurturing environment for his daughters. Tragically, those hopes were shattered as the full extent of the abuse inflicted upon Jamaria came to light. In the wake of Jamaria's death, her maternal family has been left to grapple with the overwhelming grief and loss. They have set up a fundraiser to help cover the costs of her funeral, describing Jamaria as a bright and beautiful 9-year-old girl whose life was filled with promise.
Of a 9-year-old baby? 9.
The family has also expressed their deep sorrow for Jamaria's younger sister, who now faces an uncertain future without her beloved sibling by her side.
And her sister, what happened to her sister? She's not going to understand that. She's only 6 years old.
The story of Jamaria Sessions has sparked widespread outrage and calls for justice, not just within the Monteverde community, but across the nation. The brutal nature of the crime, combined with the evidence of prolonged abuse, has led many to question how such violence could have gone unnoticed for so long. Why did no one intervene? How could this have been allowed to happen? These questions have ignited a broader conversation about the need for more effective child protection measures and the importance of vigilance in identifying and responding to signs of abuse.
And we do need a broader conversation. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up and tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you. Angela Fender has a lot to say. I know Susan has a lot to say. Don't be shy. I don't bite. Only my fake Bombay does.
As the legal proceedings against Martin move forward, the community will be watching closely, hoping that justice will be served for Jamaria and her sister. The case has also highlighted the critical role that communities, law enforcement, and child protection agencies must play in safeguarding vulnerable children from harm. For Jamaria's family, the pain of her loss is immeasurable. In their fundraiser, they spoke of the deep love they had for her and the unbearable grief they now carry. Despite our efforts to be a part of their lives and provide them with the love and support they need, we have been met with insurmountable barriers, they wrote, expressing their frustration and sorrow over the circumstances that led to this unimaginable tragedy. The story of Jamaria Sessions is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked violence. It is a call to action for communities, law enforcement, and child protection agencies to work together to ensure that no child has to endure the kind of suffering that Jamaria experienced in her short life. As the days pass and the legal process continues, Jamaria's story will continue to serve as a painful reminder of the work that remains to be done to protect children from abuse. The community mourns the loss of a young life taken far too soon, and the world is left to grapple with the haunting questions of how and why this tragedy was allowed to happen. In the end, the legacy of Jamaria Sessions must be one of change. Her death should compel us all to be more.
How many children will suffer such a horrible death until change is really made? I don't have enough fingers to count. I'm sure every one of you can throw a child's name in, and I don't mean it in that way. Harmony Montgomery, Gabriel Fernandez, little AJ in Illinois, Olivia Jansen outside of Kansas City, Oakley Carlson, the West brothers. The only way to stop it, there you go, Tommy Valva. The only way to stop it is through legislation. And unfortunately, people are pissed one minute and they forget about it the next. And no, I'm not talking about all of you. Not you. too many to count.
Or vigilant, to speak up when we see signs of abuse, and to ensure that no child is ever left to suffer in silence. The tragedy of her short life must not be in vain, but rather a catalyst for a collective commitment to protecting the most vulnerable among us.
What is it going to take? Angela Fender said, what I'm saying? Why did not one hear it? My God. You would think there would be some neighbor or someone close by that would hear such massive violence. But why did no one hear it? I agree with you. I said that a few weeks ago in another case with little Chulo. How, when those trailers are set up almost like sardines, how did no one hear what was going on? And the abuse doesn't just, it seems like it's always projected against one child. Like in the case of Gannon Stout. It's projected right on one, and the other kids don't really know what to do. Angela's got great comments today. She said, dog barking, kids screaming, that's a deadly scream. I agree. This isn't kids laughing. This isn't kids just having fun. We know the difference between a blood-curdling scream and you hear just kids playing around you. Well, I know several people are saying that they just can't handle this today. Is anyone okay with me finishing the show, or do you want me to stop it here? Because I have some more things to discuss. And remember, you can grab the link and come up and tell me. GB said keep going. Okay. All right. GB voted for you. Hey, where is Walking Dead today, Britt? And this must hit Britt really hard because her children went to middle school today. She has beautiful twins. Melanie's listening. Okay. Kelly said keep going. Stacy said keep going.
Was issued for 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of child neglect.
Police in Florida say a woman who showed off her bonus daughter on social media is accused of sicking her.
Oh, she did. She kept using the good old social media to make herself look like June Cleaver. My bonus daughter, my bonus daughter, my bonus daughter. My bonus daughter. Uh-oh, we got trouble in the house. Susan's here. Susan! Talk to me, girlfriend.
Good morning. This is Harmony all over again. It's so sad.
Minus the 2 years of not being able to find her. In my opinion, this woman instigated, acted on, commanded the dog to attack her because she knew she was dead or dying, and she wanted to make it look like the family dog attacked her.
I can't disagree with you there because I don't know too much about the case. But it sounds like, yeah, if she was that sick, yeah, she was trying to cover things up. Poor baby.
It's horrible. And look how beautiful she is.
And he left her there. He knew what she was. He couldn't take the heat, but he left them here.
He was fighting with her, so he goes to live with his mama, but his mama doesn't say, where were the girls? Or she may.
I'll tell you one better. I bet he was out cheating on her and she caught him. and kicked his ass out. Oh, excuse me.
But he's not going to take the kids.
Yeah. He'll show her he's running the streets.
Oh, yeah. Pam Davidson has a question. She goes, so I joined late today. Has CPS been involved prior to this? They are the ones that placed Jamaria and her little sister back with their father after he got out of prison and took them from their grandparents. From the ground, who would have never, ever touched a hair on their head.
Yeah. I can't with these judges.
Yeah, the judges.
Who in their right mind would think that that's a good move? He's had abuse on his record, but you're going to put him back with it. That makes no sense to me.
Why did he take them in the first place unless there were sort of benefits involved?
Or to hurt somebody to prove it can.
Well, I don't know what he would have against the grandma. I'm not disagreeing with you, but biological mom died of leukemia.
But he wanted them away from the grandparents. That's just an idea.
You're muffled, Susan.
Oh, I'm sorry. For whatever reason, he wanted control.
And, he's been in trouble for dealing the rugs, evading police, child neglect, and they're like, hey, but that's the daddy. We got to give him, I'm so tired of them encouraging welfare instead of stability. And these judges need to be disbarred, taking their fat asses off the bench and lose their pension.
Yeah. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. It's harmony all over again. And it's got to stop.
And these Title D4 states that just they get so much federal money by doling out the money. And I don't care who gets stamps, who gets any sort of social services. I do not care. In cases like this, where it's babies for benefits and the baby dies, I lose my damn mind and I don't have far to go.
Yep.
Her dog on the young child. And police say the deadly attack was all caught on camera. We're taking a deep dive into this sickening evidence against the suspect with former prosecutor Melba Pearson. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Sierra Gillespie. It's been weeks since 9-year-old Jamaria Simmons was found inside her Montverde, Florida home, naked and unresponsive. First responders say
Naked.
Naked.
What the hell are our clothes?
The dog might have ripped them off.
Oh, please.
Oh, I know.
Say they found cuts, bruises, burns, and even possible bite marks on the girl.
I'm assuming that the bite marks were from the Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about the Rottweiler being put down? Because we're going to have some comments from people saying I'm blaming the dog when I've made it clear that this right here is the problem.
Yeah, she's the problem. And that dog was trained to do that, but I'm sorry, it's the law.
Chicky poo.
If they've attacked, then they have to be put down. That's the law.
And him.
Yeah.
Tyshael and John.
Mm.
Uh-oh, we've got even bigger trouble backstage. Pat's coming.
Hi, Pat.
Pat, talk to me. What do you think?
Hi, ladies. Oh, my volume's not too good, but can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, this is just horrible.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing, Susan. It reminded me of Harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Just a poor little innocent angel, and I have to watch my mouth today. I just want to say F. I just can't believe it. This is horrible.
I'm the same way. And as far as hair straightening, is that why she's using boiling water? Did she use it on her head?
Nope. or none of the other children. Nope, just straight. Her.
She's a liar.
Where do they come up with these things? Boiling water? Are you serious?
She's a liar.
I have a cat that won't drink water unless there's ice cubes in it.
Oh.
And he's a friggin' cat, okay? But I'm telling you, hell is empty. The devil opened the gates and they're all here.
See, I wasn't brought up religious, so when you guys say that, it's hard for me to, understand what you're talking about. Like evil, I know the word, but it's never sort of been in my world. I know that's hard for some people that haven't been brought up religious, but evil, it was always like from a fairy tale. So I'm just trying to, I don't know. I just don't understand these people. Does that woman that did this, does she have any kids of her own?
Yes, she does. She does. And the younger sister and basically all the children in the house saw this abuse. Angela Fender said it's for the braids. You dip the end in, you don't pour it on. Somehow it got put on her right foot, and it was a horrible, horrible infected burn. So let's see what they're going to say.
EMTs noted that she was already cold to the touch when they arrived. Lake County deputies started a child abuse investigation, which they now say is one of the worst cases they've seen in decades. They got a warrant to get their hands on the video from the home security system. The video came from the night of June 15th, 2 days before emergency personnel responded to a 911 call about Jamaria, and the video was shocking. According to detectives, 34-year-old Tyshael Martin could be seen directing her 100-pound Rottweiler to attack Jamaria. Deputies say Martin was holding the dog's leash during the attack, and she was also reportedly seen kicking Jamaria repeatedly. The video then reportedly shows Martin dragging a limp Jamaria across the room, continuing to hit her. She was possibly also heard saying, "I'm fixin' to kill her," according to the sheriff's office. Tyshael Martin was the girlfriend of Jamaria's father. Martin often posted about her blended family with Lowan Simmons and called Jamaria her bonus daughter. In fact, in January of this year, Martin posted a photo of Jamaria, who she often called Mary, for her last birthday, saying, "May 9 be great to her," with a heart emoji. Also posted on the social media was a photo of her pet Rottweiler. Now, according to social media posts and to neighbors, Jamaria's mom had recently died from leukemia. Officials with the sheriff's office said that at the time of Jamaria's death, they couldn't officially declare it a homicide until the autopsy was complete. But now, weeks after her death, we know the medical examiner concluded the cause of death was homicide due to complications from multiple blunt injuries to her head, body, and extremities, in addition to burns on her right foot. Based on the autopsy results and the new video, deputies arrested Tyshael Martin just this week, and now she's charged with 3 felonies.
Well, because they had to get that warrant. Let's look at her Facebook right now, because it sounds goofy, but there she is, Tyshael.
Did she say the video was taken 2 days before she died?
The video was 2 days before, so I can't find it, but I am wondering when she exactly died. Did she slowly die in the house between the 15th and the 17th?
That's what I'm questioning.
8 a.m. on the morning of? Did she call and realize that she was gone, thinking she was going to wake up? Sonia Allen, thank you for the super sticker. She said, do other countries release kids to ex-con parents? Well, Pat's from Canada. She can tell us.
Yes, they do. I think that's like in the olden days, honestly, 50 years ago, 60, 70, they always want to put the children back with the family, but maybe it's time to start evolving with the world And
Yeah.
I don't think that's it shouldn't be an automatic thing anymore.
Especially if they're thriving where they are.
Yes.
Right. Because, I mean, Harmony would be alive had she been adopted by Jameson's parents or the foster parents. Quentin Simon would be alive had there not been any sort of kinship.
Reunification. Yeah.
Yeah, kinship guardianship. Exactly. And she had no chance against that Rottweiler. And I'm not saying the Rottweiler is what killed her, but it certainly didn't help. June 14th, Tyshael posted this. I strongly believe God is teaching me patience right now on all levels. People are calling her a demon. The 13th, she said it's all about peace. Be the peace you keep, asking her to be for you. Okay. She says, take notes. If you want less mess, stay at your own address and limit your guests. Okay, well, look how you treat yours. This guy says, question, A, death, or B, life without parole? June 5th, he said, y'all scared to be single. I'm scared to commit and waste my time again. Do you think that the abuse was heaped on Jamaria because she was so mad that LaJean left?
Yep.
The kids with her.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I think so. That was her way of getting back at him.
Mm-hmm.
That's always kind of been my theory on Letitia Stout.
Yeah.
She says, I'm at the age, this is June 11th, a few days before the murder. I'm at the age where a man painting a room, fixing a car, building a deck, fishing, or grilling turns me on. She did not want those kids dumped on her. She should have called CPS and said, these are not my kids.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Take them to a fire hall. Take them to the police station. Drop them off. Walk out.
Too old for that. She could have called the grandma. Grandma would have taken them babies.
Yeah, she just had revenge in her heart.
Mm-hmm.
She did. And this chick or this guy said, well, you're going to have to settle for a guard yelling lights out, chow time, 1 hour for rec, hit the showers, bend over, grab your knees and cough. Because now you're in jail and you're probably going to get death.
Yeah, I hope so. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but I do.
She probably is. I mean, that's probably what she's going to get.
And you know, when you were talking earlier about people hearing things and not saying anything, I think we really need to push that. You know, if people, like especially the trailer one you were talking about, come on, somebody had to have heard something.
Mm-hmm.
We have, you know, people can send in anonymous. If they can't pick up the phone because they are afraid their, you know, phone number is going to be taken or something, then send in a letter. It takes 3 days. It's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, just send in something anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start doing that. You know,
and these women in the jail are not going to take kindly to her. They are not. We already heard what happened to Adam Montgomery. They had to move his ass out of state. He's in Virginia now. But she has all of these what people call passive aggressive posts like this. Please date somebody who can communicate, comprehend, apologize, and correct behavior. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you kill the daughter. That's what you did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the viciousness is something that nobody can wrap their mind around.
It is a warrant that was issued for 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of child neglect. You indicated that you intended to hire a private attorney. We're waiving appointment of the public defender's office. Is that accurate?
I already have a private attorney.
You have a private attorney? Okay. So he or she will file paperwork letting the clerk's office and the judge know that he or she represents you. I didn't see any paperwork in the court file as of yet, but your lawyer will file that so that the records get updated, and then I'm sure he or she will come to see you.
Because of the seriousness of the charges, Martin was automatically denied bond. According to text messages and interviews, deputies determined that Jamaria was often punished with physical exercise, like prolonged wall sits and having to run in place with her arms raised. She was also allegedly hit with various different objects, kicked, punched, and even pinched. Now on to what we know about Luwan Sessions, that's Jamaria's father. It seems like he wasn't at the home the night of his daughter's death, having flown to California, according to Martin. She told deputies during the initial investigation that the rest of the family was supposed to go meet up with him. But as it turned out, Sessions was also recently behind bars for an unrelated crime. Weeks after Jamaria's death, the 26-year-old was arrested on an outstanding warrant from another Florida county. He'd spent 3 years in prison on drug charges prior to all this and was wanted allegedly for violating his probation. Jamaria's maternal grandmother told local news outlets that she'd been going through a custody battle with Jamaria's father over who would be the one to have custody. She says after Jamaria's mom died, Jamaria had been living with the grandmother until one day Sessions picked up Jamaria and her 5-year-old sister at school without consent, and they never went back to their grandmother's home. We dug into Martin's criminal record, which dates back to 2010, when she pled no contest to shoplifting charges in Orange County. Other citations include driving without a license, not wearing a seatbelt, and not having a child in a car seat. In 2016, Martin was charged with failure to control an animal.
Well, doesn't she look totally different without the makeup and the lashes? I mean, really, I bet she is not happy that that is her mugshot. I guarantee.
Nasty.
And she lied over and over and over. And they caught her on every lie. It's easy for them to find out if someone's in California. They know that she caught the ship to go to Miami with all the kids. I think they went to St. Croix. But she'd already been in trouble for the puppy dog. She'd already been in trouble for not controlling the animal. But this mugshot compared to what she posts on Facebook, word to the wise, are night and day.
That she'd been going through a custody battle with Jamaria's father over who would be the one to have custody. She says after Jamaria's mom died, Jamaria had been living with the grandmother until one day Sessions picked up Jamaria and her 5-year-old sister at school without consent, and they never went back to their grandmother's home. We dug into Martin's criminal record, which dates back to 2010, when she pled no contest to shoplifting charges in Orange County. Other citations include driving without a license, not wearing a seatbelt, and not having a child in a car seat. In 2016, Martin was charged with failure to control an animal resulting in a bite. That case was eventually dismissed by a judge. Hey, listen up. I have something you're not going to want to miss. Today,
family law system, they want to do the best they can do. But oftentimes they're just so overwhelmed. There's so many cases. It's hard to stay on top of everything and everyone. There's not enough staff. There's not enough funding. So because of that, we keep seeing instances where a child falls through the cracks, and sadly, it results in fatal consequences. So the reality is we need to do more in terms of investing in these systems because of the fact that
So he didn't have custody, actually. They haven't gone to court yet.
No, but he did have temporary custody. And I don't want to invest one more dime of my tax dollars into it until they fix it.
Exactly.
Just because someone shot their load doesn't make them a daddy. Just because someone spread their legs doesn't make her a mama. And I'm not talking about the mama that died. I'm talking about the one that allegedly killed her.
Our children need to be protected, and we can't have situations where people who have no business having a child in their house be the primary caretaker in some way, shape, or form.
It really is so tough because so many different departments are so overworked, so understaffed, and this is a need that we have. But so many different departments need extra folks working for them. But anyway, moving on to the next half of this. The defendant in our case, Tyshael, she posted on social media about our little victim, called her bonus daughter, kind of celebrated the girl. And
The putting games.
Why not just cut out the damn labels for once and call the child your daughter if you love her so much?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sick. Like, I don't like the words stepdad. I'm not saying that any child whose mama got remarried has to say, hey, stepdad, hey, stepdad. But I mean, stop with the labels. Oh, my bonus daughter, my bonus daughter, my bonus daughter. Bonus is in you got more money. Bonus is in you, it made you feel better about yourself because
With
you
these
were
gorgeous pictures.
look
And then look at what she's really like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, it's disgusting.
Mhm.
Absolutely disgusting.
And it seemed by all accounts, she loved this girl. This is her quote bonus daughter. She's happy to have her. And then I don't know, is this showing that social media isn't really what it seems?
You think?
Yeah.
No shit.
No shit.
No shit. You see those people with the fishing pictures and they have the fish, they're holding it way out and it looks like an 8-pounder. But if they were really holding it next to them, it's basically a half a pound perch. Of course, social media lies to you. These people, and I'm not saying anyone in here, they put their best face forward. Oh, look at me. I'm out doing this. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. Maria, bonus daughter. This beautiful girl is not a thing. No, she's not. Don't label the child. Do not label this little girl. What a horrible thing to do.
That's incredibly possible because you oftentimes show an image or show a side of yourself that may not necessarily be accurate. Many times you see people, even our favorite celebrities, posting on socials and they're hugging and they're at this great.
This chick is pissing me off. Okay, yeah, we know that the camera can lie. We know that. We know that social media can lie. Hell, there's people that can post that they're at the Eiffel Tower or that they planned to go to the Ozarks for a quilting convention, but they actually got called somewhere else. That you know that shit didn't happen, but people take it hook, line, and sinker. Impress, impress, impress all you want. Nobody, and I'm not blaming grandma. I'm not, because I do believe she really tried.
Yeah. She got the path.
Nobody followed up. Not one person. But then on the other hand, it's also worse to be yourself because people will definitely pick that apart. Best thing to do is stay the hell off of it.
Red carpet event and life is so fabulous, and then you find out the next week that they're getting divorced and there was abuse or some other things going on behind the scenes. You know, the photo, while a picture can tell a 1,000 words, it's not always accurate, the story that it tells, right? So often we see things on social media and the reality is very far different than what is being portrayed. So it is possible that this defendant posted all these lovey-dovey messages on socials because she wanted her partner to be happy. She wanted to show this image to the world that she's a loving stepmom and that she's a good person. But underneath it all, she had anger and obviously resented this poor child and clearly had a great deal of hatred or at the very least dislike. But to get to the point of leasing your pet, your Rottweiler, to kill a child, that to me leans on the side of hatred more so than anything else, unless there's mental health or addiction or something else that we are not aware of at this moment.
The facts of the case really are gruesome and devastating. The fact that there was a dog that somehow helped perpetuate this crime. And I know this is something that Rottweilers or pit bulls kind of get a bad name oftentimes because they are the ones that occasionally get a bit more aggressive.
Because they're the bigger dogs and they can be aggressive. We know.
And they have the stronger jaws and they can do a lot of damage. But if they're trained right, they're good dogs. But if they're not, they're a loaded weapon.
They are a loaded weapon, especially if they have some sort of training to attack and serve the owner. Now, of course, the dog is going to be euthanized because, you know, it's a little girl. My in-laws, they had a pit bull. Okay. They could not take care of this dog. There was no training this dog. My husband tried and tried and tried. They could not take care of this dog. They moved into a new house. The landlord showed up to fix the gate. That dog grabbed a hold of his hand. 37 stitches later, that dog's jaw was contracting back and pulling all the skin, broke bones and everything. Now, is it the dog's fault or my in-law's fault?
It wasn't trained. I mean, sometimes if they can't be trained, you can't keep them. You can't.
No, you have to be able to have a pet that can live in society. And unfortunately, there are some that can't.
They cannot. No.
You know, because I worked with the Humane Society, I saw a lot of injuries from people that didn't train their pets, or they didn't, you know, at one point you have to say this dog can't live in society properly. You know, if it gets out of the gated yard, it will attack someone. You can't have that type of dog around. No. I'm very sorry. Because they could go for a child.
I love them. I've seen Rottweilers and pit bulls that are good, sweet animals.
Oh,
but if they're not trained, they're dangerous.
Yeah. Any dog, a German Shepherd, anything that, you know, as a large dog can cause injuries.
Well, and I had a Pomeranian that named Gus, that if someone tapped on something, that dog would just start attacking.
Yeah.
And I was holding the dog one day, and my kids thought it was funny to start tapping the coffee table, and it leached onto my nose. I threw that fur ball as far as I could. My nose is bleeding and everything.
Yeah.
But obviously, the Pomeranian's not going to kill me. And the German Shepherds across the floor just laying there watching TV. I don't know. I can't make sense of it.
Yeah.
You train them to be aggressive, they're going to be aggressive, just like kids. I'm not comparing dogs and kids. Okay, it's just a metaphor.
Than others, but at the same token, oftentimes they're very friendly and nice if they're in a loving home. So I'm wondering if maybe our defendant in this case maybe trained or rewarded the dog if he was to attack the little girl. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and that's one thing. I think there's a lot of stereotypes about pit bulls and Rottweilers. I'm very much an animal lover. And I think very much it's nature versus nurture, right? And if the dog is raised in a loving environment and is treated, you know, with love as a pet and is not trained to fight, not trained to attack, not trained to harm, then the dog generally will behave consistent to the way that the owner trained him.
Personally, I think law and crime is missing the point. In my opinion, this is not a dog attack at home. They know from the security video that she prompted the dog to attack Jamaria. I hate when people turn the corner and they get off track to talk about the puppies. Listen, there was a case in Memphis. Horrible, horrible case. Okay. Mom had the 2-year-old in front of the TV, had the baby in the bassinet. She's in another room doing something, which I do not fault her for that. Hell, she could be shaving her armpits. I don't know. The pit bull killed both the kids. And then when she came out to stop the dog, I probably shouldn't have said pit bull, he attacked her. And she was in ICU for I can't tell you how long. And I made a community post and I asked, should the parents be in jail? And people were like, what? Like, oh my God. I'm like, listen, but that was not a provoked attack. This was provoked. That, according to the medical examiner, is not what killed little Jamaria. It was the abuse from Tyshael. I think she provoked the dog to make it look like the dog killed her. That is only my opinion. We won't find out until later. So they need to quit with the whole dog thing.
Time. What do you think about that? Can that be used against her?
Absolutely. I would, depending on when it was said, and I'm thinking more so about the time frame around premeditation. Because if this is something she said 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the attack by the dog, that to me speaks to premeditation. If it's something she said contemporaneous to the attack, so in other words, she says, I'm fixing to kill her and releases the dog, I think that's more of a case of second-degree murder more so than first degree, because there could be the argument that this is in the heat of passion and that, she was just.
That can happen in a blink of an eye. She knew what she was doing. First degree. Fuck that bitch.
She's charged with first degree. She's charged with first degree.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't
this
give me the second degree. She knew.
But this woman's a defense attorney. She's thinking in her mind how she would defend this. And she's really irritating me with this because we know that she provoked the dog to attack Jamaria after she drug her through the house and had done all kinds of unspeakables to her.
Yeah.
Like now, law enforcement as well as the prosecutor's office are able to put together a case and then be able to build from there. Also, what's going to be.
All right. Woo, look at this. He's got the baton. He's got the baton out. Look at that. He's got it ready. Meaning, if you move, girlfriend, you're going to get it.
Or maybe the dog's going to come after him.
He's got the baton out. I would have put her in the back with the dog that knows how to kill, but that's just me. I'll get in trouble from YouTube for saying that.
Oh, well.
No mercy. Sorry.
I'm with you.
None. Boy, I wish she would have misbehaved that day.
Are able to put together a case and then be able to build from there. Also, what's going to be very interesting is the medical examiner's report, because remember, the medical examiner has to pretty much come back with a cause of death of homicide. If the medical examiner comes back with accidental or undetermined you can still possibly work with, but it does make that trial much more difficult because the prosecutor has to prove the cause of death, which would be let's say a gunshot wound, stabbing, death by dog bite, and they have to also establish the manner of death being homicide. If it's anything short of that, it becomes an uphill battle in terms of meeting the beyond the reasonable doubt standard of proof.
Just hearing what you're talking about, the ways that people unfortunately may end their life, whether it's a gunshot wound or a stabbing situation. Unfortunately, that's something we cover a lot here on Sidebar, on Law and Crime. Unfortunately, we see it a lot. But I have yet to see a dog attack, especially on a little girl, if that is the way that she actually died by this dog. And that also.
That's not how she died. They just didn't do their homework, okay? And I agree with you 100%, Angela. She said, I've had all breeds of dogs. It's about the breed and the owner and training. I agree with you. I believe this dog was provoked to make the abuse that caused Jamaria's death look like the family dog attacked her. That's just my opinion. I could be proven wrong. I've been proven wrong before. But they're really hung up on this dog situation. We know now that's not what happened because she is in jail for first-degree murder, and old boy is in jail for aggravated manslaughter because there's no way he did not know his daughter was being abused in that home. They have way more evidence.
Kind of gets me thinking. This took place in Florida, where we know death penalty is still kind of on the table. We just saw recently this week, Wade Wilson himself was sentenced to death. So in the most heinous of crimes, it's possible that prosecutors may seek it. And I'm wondering, just based on the severity of this, that she is a little girl killed by a dog at the hands of her father's girlfriend. What do you think? Would prosecutors consider pursuing death penalty?
I think they will consider it. I don't know that this is a death penalty case. And let me tell you why. While this is heinous, atrocious, and cruel because it's a child, there may be too many arguments in terms of why or how this happened. Did the girlfriend have mental health issues or addiction issues that may have led to this? You know, the fact that she's
the only child.
She's speaking as a defense attorney. She's not speaking as a prosecutor. She's not speaking as a judge. She's not speaking as a juror. Jurors don't give a shit about people's addiction problems. They have their own problems at home. Jurors do not give a shit about people's mental health issues. That shit just started coming up about 20 years ago and everyone clings to it. They don't care. People have an innate gift for protecting children. They do. There is not a mental illness out there. Well, unless you're talking about some, pets, if you want to call it that. There's not. They say bipolar, histrionic, borderline. They know not to beat a child within an inch of their life and then have a Rottweiler try to finish them off.
Yeah.
Enough. And Florida doesn't really deal with the mentally insane. It doesn't work that way.
And what about the other kids?
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said, what about the other kids? How were they left without being beaten and a dog sticked on them? Don't make excuses for this bullshit.
They must have been so scared.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure they were terrified that, they're watching this wacko woman beat their sister. They must have been scared shitless.
I'm sure. You heard the screaming. What do you want them to do?
Turn my
Get
volume
the
off for that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But nobody's going to put themselves between that and her violence.
No.
Because it's all it's going to take is another one of her moods to turn that dog on one of them or do the same thing. Because there was a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 17-year-old, if the articles I have been reading are correct. People are really giving hell to the 17-year-old that she didn't do anything. Do you think that maybe
she grew up with her? She knows what she's capable of. This was not the first time.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying maybe, I give 100% pass to the 17-year-old because we are not her. We don't know what's going on. But that's where I'm thinking with social media, can the police put some sort of, like a 911 on people's phones or something? Like, we've got to come up with something where a 17-year-old could maybe grab her phone and, send some sort of a SOS message to an authority. Something.
But then you got the whole idea where she's gonna still live with this woman.
Yeah.
That's true. And unfortunately, they see the news just like we do, where
And they
people, and they know, oh, the courts gave the child back to the father or the mother, and then something horrendous happens.
Yes.
And you have on the other side the grandmother, the maternal grandmother, who has been trying to raise attention to this.
Sounding the alarms, and they're ignoring her.
Yet we heard from that earlier in the show. It reminds me a lot of Olivia Jansen's case, where the grandparents were raising all kinds of hell with, the powers that be, and they just kept ignoring them. And Olivia is dead.
Yep. And so's Corey.
Yeah. And so is Corey. Exactly. So now, I mean, here is the question. I'm not even gonna bother anyone with how do we change this, because Jesus isn't back yet. Okay. They're changing it. Forget that. And the powers that be, legislators in any country don't seem to really give a shit. They just don't.
No, they don't. Unfortunately.
So the question is, at what point will common sense prevail with Child Protective Services, since they carry so much weight, even though they are not law enforcement?
And they're not accountable. They don't have to answer anybody for this. Are you kidding? Not one of them will take accountability. You're not even allowed to know what went on with their system.
So take Florida, for example. What is wrong with the system? Is it that there's not enough Child Protective Service, employees to go out there and look after all this? Like, what is the problem?
That I don't know. I don't know, because I mean, I've been to Florida many, many times, but I can be honest. I mean, I've never been involved in a CPS situation ever.
No.
So I don't know how it works. I mean, I have a very good friend, and they have custody, her and her husband, of their grandchildren, and they still get frequent checks. Well, let me tell you, I don't mean checks as in money, like checks when they come by the house.
Right.
And I mean, you could eat off their floor. I mean, they have a whole game room for, the kids and everything, but they still come by and make sure everything is, up to par. Then you see a situation like this, or a situation like Harmony, or a situation like little AJ, or Olivia Jansen, or Oakley Carlson, or Gabriel Fernandez, where, as they say, and these are their words, not mine, slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
I hate it
They
when
don't
they
have
say
the money for it. They don't have the money for it, but they have all kinds of money to throw to these cases where they can put in things where they don't fall through the cracks, and then they don't follow their own guidelines.
And there's been many recent cases where they have brought social workers, to court. However, they have what's called indemnity, which means since they're part of a government agency, they can't actually use them. It's all for pomp and circumstance. I say disbar the judge, take
them accountable,
and maybe that will change. But there's no side of the aisle, considering they need their judges for different reasons, that they'll ever agree for that. Politics runs all the way to hell and back.
Yes, it does.
Aggravator. And that could lead to the analysis that a death penalty is appropriate. But the fact that the manner or the cause of death was by way of a Rottweiler, I don't know. I feel like there's still that argument that can be made that this was an accident or something along those lines.
Was it an accident, her kicking the shit out of her? Oh,
Accident, my
oh.
God.
I'm
I
sorry.
actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I smell what old girl's stepping in.
Yeah.
She's saying that the defense is going to say that the dog did it, and that since she was holding the leash, it doesn't mean that the dog didn't do something later. It's going to be a defense strategy that the dog did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well, I
dog
hope
didn't
they
hit
put.
her. The dog didn't beat her.
That's right.
I say put a dog in the cell with her, but nobody listens to me. I'm saying
Yeah, that would be inhumane.
I'm saying I want 2 different islands. I'm
Yep.
saying 2 different islands. I want one for all these heads, and they can all play in the jungle together. They can fuck each other to death. And then I want one for all these child abusers, and it'll be survivor style. And yes, I will get in trouble from YouTube for saying that.
Oh well.
I think it might be a little too
tired.
early to add the death penalty to it. I still think you could charge first-degree murder and waive death, which could still expose the defendant to a life sentence. So, that is an option. Or if they decide to go with second-degree murder, again, a tactical decision, because in Florida, a first-degree murder requires 12 jurors. A second-degree murder requires 6. So depending on how the facts shake out and the totality of the evidence, a prosecutor may make the decision, you know what? I'm going to file this as a second-degree murder because I think I can easily overcome the threshold a little bit better than having to try and convince 12 people. And certainly 12 people to the point that they're going to vote for death. So that's why I think it would be a first-degree murder.
I wish she would say the truth. I wish
Yeah.
she would say the truth because she knows the truth. DP is almost impossible. You can threaten it, but it's almost impossible for 12 people to give it to a woman. I don't know why. It has been proven over and over and over. The only person I can think of that got it was Aline Wuornos in Florida. And oh shoot, who's the chick in Texas that took the chainsaw to her boyfriend? Carla Tucker. And she became a Reformed Christian in jail. And so many people were going to visit her, and she was saving people and all that stuff. But when you're talking to 12 people, they're not all like-minded. I mean, we have 176 people in here right now. We're not all like-minded. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of 2 people that have been put to death that are women. Now, in Oklahoma, Alicia, they were asking for the death penalty for the murder of Athena Brownfield. For me, it wouldn't be a second thought, considering what Athena went through.
Yeah.
Okay? Nothing.
But also, let me ask you this. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but if you are sentenced to the death penalty, don't you go in some sort of segregation until your time is due, which is, to me, it sounds like it's like 10 to 20 years these people sit on death row.
Yeah, they go through their appeals, and death row is totally different than the other part of the prison.
Right. So I'd rather take that off the table than let her go in with general pop.
Well, and the sad fact of the matter is they won't do that. I mean, look what they did with Adam Montgomery. They had to move him to a different prison because they said constitutionally, even though he has no constitutional rights, but the state can't protect him. So they had to move him to Virginia. And that's after somebody put something in his butt and held his head in a toilet full of poop.
Yeah, but he still has his appeal. So he does have rights.
Yeah. Make it make sense. Come back now, Jesus. Come on.
Waiving death or a second-degree murder. That's kind of where I think this is going to land. we'll see what happens.
That's why I wanted to talk to you, because you are in Florida and you're a prosecutor, so you know what you're talking about. As far as charges, though, we know the defendant in this case is the little girl's father's girlfriend, so kind of a tangled web there a bit. But I'm wondering about her dad. Is it possible that he's culpable in all of this?
Yeah. And remember, he's charged with aggravated manslaughter. Obviously, they're behind. That's okay. They should do another one. But yes, he is charged with aggravated manslaughter.
As they should be. He knew what she was like, how she treated them kids, and he left her. He left her.
And sometimes the women get it 10 times worse than the men. V, thank you so much for the love. Thank you. Thank you so much, V. Because if we look at what happened to Pearl Fernandez, those women were not dealing with her after they found out what happened to Gabriel. And they had her around women that were in there for minuscule ounces of POT.
What happened to her? I don't know that case.
Oh, shoot. They were sharpening spoons and shit and just started beating the heck out of her.
Oh, well. What can I say? You get what you deserve sometimes.
Debbie, she said, just Google Darlie Rudier. She's been sentenced to death. No, what I'm talking about is women who have actually gone to death, who's actually been killed by the state. I can only think of 2 off the top of my head. Darlie hasn't been put to death yet. And I know some people say she shouldn't be. I haven't got too much into that. I was just talking about women who actually have.
It's hard for someone to vote for a death penalty, I think. Like, I'm like, I could. I don't think my mother would have ever. So I could see where, 12 jurors, it's hard to get them all like-minded, like you said.
I mean, how would you? I mean, you would have to have a very convincing prosecutor to get everybody on the same page. That's the only reason, in my opinion, that Casey Anthony is out. Because when the plea agreement was given to Jeff Ashcroft gave it to Jose Baez. And he was like, we'll give her manslaughter. And he was like, no, go for death. Because he knew it would never happen, because he never proved what happened to little Kaylee Anthony. And he was like, no, you've already charged her with, first-degree murder. You're asking for the death penalty. We're going to go there. Between the judge's instructions and the fact they couldn't prove exactly what happened to her, they couldn't convict her. It was actually quite the roll of the dice, and he knew that he could, in an appellate court, could get it overturned. And it was because of the media attention. He thought he had a slam dunk. Very, very stupid on his part. Because had he had other judges and DAs have learned from that case. We saw it in the case of Christopher Greger. They even had a family meeting, and they said, second-degree murder is probably not going to fly. But if we get aggravated manslaughter, child endangerment, he's going to be away for a long time. I didn't like it. I don't agree with it. But sometimes you have to make those deals with the devil to keep those people out of society.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, this is just horrible.
It is.
It's absolutely horrible. And in my opinion, in this case, I do not believe the state has overcharged this woman. I really don't.
No.
I do not think they have overcharged her.
No.
First degree is exactly what it is. When she's dragging her around by her hair, especially with all the other abuse. And she says, I'm fixing to kill her. That proves premeditation to me. It wouldn't take me 2 seconds on a jury.
Absolutely.
She wanted her gone.
I don't know how much more premeditated it could be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to do a little poll here in the chat. Do you all want to continue following this case? Put a 1 for a yes, a 2 for a no, because I know a lot of people dipped out because they said this is too much.
Yeah, I turned my phone the volume down a few times.
Yeah.
You know.
But just like Harmony, she deserves justice.
Yes, she does. Yeah. And for that reason, I would say I'll put a 1 to keep going with it.
Well, I'll keep it brief. I mean, I will. I'm not going to drag it out, and because when the video comes out, and it will.
Oh.
I know it will.
Yeah,
Kimberly
I don't want to see that.
has a question. Shouldn't aggravation something be added to her charges? I don't know how it works in Florida because she's charged with first-degree murder. So I don't know if there is any sort of aggravation they can add to charges. I don't know. Maybe TCB or someone from Florida can answer that. Well, I just think it's one of the sickest things I've ever heard in my damn life. And whatever happens on this earth, I can promise you something right now. She will rot in hell.
Yeah.
And I'd rather face jail than hell.
Me too.
I just feel sick.
AP said she will get life. Doubtful the DP, in my opinion. I don't think she's going to get death penalty either, and that's the reason because it's such a roll of the dice when they have a woman on there.
Yeah.
Such a roll of the dice.
And it's unfortunate because I think she deserves it.
I do too.
Yeah, put her away for life.
I don't want to see her walk like Casey Anthony. So do what's right for the child.
Exactly. Well, you guys are the absolute best. I want a huge round of applause for our mod squad, our friends Susan and Pat for coming on panel. Come on, y'all. Show it. Show your support. Amazing panel we had today. I was so surprised that you two popped up.
Oh, thanks for having me up. I want to say hi to Susan too.
I love you, Pat.
One day at a time.
Y'all take care. I'm going.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye, chat. Thanks for being here.
Amazing women and amazing friends. Again, I know this case is a lot to absorb. It's a lot. But we're going to keep on keeping on, okay? I know it's hard when we discuss cases like this. But unfortunately, cases like this keep popping up. They do. They're not as rare as people want you to believe. And it seems like every one of them that I come across, and a lot of them are sent to me by you guys, my jaw drops and I'm like, how can it get any worse? I mean, we only have 7 deadly sins. How are people changing it up? The hell is wrong with them? In this case, all I can think of, and I am not taken up for that chick at all, is that she instigated and provoked the dog because she knew that Jamaria was going to die. And she wanted it to look, and I'm not calling Jamaria it. She wanted the situation to look like the Rottweiler did it. Horrible, horrible. Well, thank you guys for, the millionth time for being here for all the right reasons. I know there's a lot going on the YouTube streets, but you're here, you're steadfast, and you are here for the victims. I love you. If I don't see you over in Discord or one of the Facebook groups, then I'll see you back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I can't express it enough. Thank you so much for being the best chat and the best community on these filthy YouTube streets.